I am James Handyside. I'm an engraver from Newcastle, and I trained in London under a traditional apprenticeship in engraving. I visited Japan on my fellowship, and I was researching the metalwork in Japan, so specifically metal carving and different ways to sort of decoratively use the metal and material. The highlight of my trip was really meeting all the different kind of quirky characters that would come out of the woodwork, so to speak, and they'd usually be at home from or at these small workshops, and through getting in touch with different craftsmen that I'd met there, they would introduce me to these older craftsmen that wouldn't come out as often, and now and then we'd all get together and have a meal together and discuss as much as we could do, because they're Japanese, about metalwork, and they'd all have their different specified specialist areas of metalwork that they did. The fellowship affected me in so many different ways. It was sort of like when I first applied as a fellow, I was working in really the trade, so it was very sort of like just your head down and really focused. And when I was working with my project in Japan, it was really sort of a lot more holistic, looking at all these other different craftsmen, what they were doing, and it was a completely different way of working. Involved socially a community, bigger exchanges of ideas. And since I've come back, I've really thought more about how to pay back. Not necessarily how to pay back, but it's a sort of responsibility from the work. And with craftsmen coming over to the UK, I'm trying to exchange skills and also pass on those skills as well to students that come into my workshop. So it's kind of made me think about it more in a responsibility sense of passing that knowledge on. It's also informed my practice physically, the skills I use, the aesthetics and techniques that I use. I use combinations of European and Japanese techniques to create the new pieces that I make that sell and fund my workshop. Definitely other people should apply for a fellowship. It works in so many different ways, originally sort of giving you the authority, as I say, speak to go out and do things like that in Japan. It wouldn't necessarily have people listen to you unless you had that authority. So people wouldn't have helped me as much when I was out there. I'm not too sure if they would have, because I always went there with it. But also coming back, it has also given me authority coming back. And authority and responsibility. People have seen that, different craftsmen in Japan thought, you're doing really well there, I'm really happy for you, can you help this person? And I've taken that on, and also I've set up a new workshop in London, and I think part of that has also been my project in Japan. It's given me a lot. Other people can see that, and so if they're willing to also help me still in a way, there's a foundation that I'm at called it's like Alexander McQueen Foundation, and they've just given me a workshop that they partly subsidise, and that's how when I was going for my interview there, it was about the Winston Churchill project that I had over there, and this exchange of craft ideas. It's all added to the story, to what I want to do and share. I still couldn't believe it. I still struggle to believe it, because at the time I didn't. I applied to quite a few things before over the years, and the things are not gone through, and I'd put a lot of work into some things and they've not gone through, and it's sort of it's hard because it kind of puts you down in applying. And so when I did apply for the Winston Churchill, I didn't necessarily put too much on the line, in terms of because I was a bit more reserved, and I just didn't think that I would get through it all. And when I got to Japan and started doing the project, it started to weave in to me the way I do things, also act with people and other craftsmen differently. So I'm changed quite a bit from when I first applied. I think just the travelling made me think more about why I'm doing it and responsibilities, whereas before it was a job. I was in a workshop, just working every day, and so it's completely a different transformation, my job roles.